Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to another episode of Norristown Area High School Football. This game being brought to you by the Norristown Area School District. A very chilly night at Roosevelt Field, the first real football night that we've had here so far this season. Most games being played in nice, humid, 70-degree weather. I'm Alan Raleigh along with Jeff Brandon. Freezing here in the press box.
And these microphones are cold. There is no doubt about that.
Well, it could be worse. I think that the Eagles marching band, of course, you just saw them on tape just a moment ago. The young ladies out there with the short little uniforms on, they should get commendations for being out there in this weather.
That's right. I noticed the cheerleaders tonight have their warm-up uniforms on, so they're not out there in their traditional garb, and I think that's a very smart move on their part. It is really nippy out here, folks. It's the first night of the fall season where we should get down below the freezing mark, and I definitely think it's on the way. We are cold, and it's blustery too, Alan. The wind could be a factor if kicking becomes a part of this ball game.
This is not Minnesota. No.
You know, Alan, I think it might be the kicking game might be a factor because these two teams, William Tennant and Norristown, traditionally play a low-scoring defensive ball game. Last year, Tennant won the ball game 7-6. 2 years ago, Norristown won the ball game 6-2 to win the Suburban One League national title. And I think these two ball clubs, who both have good defensive teams, should play a grinded-out type of ball game. Now, William Tennant, as we know, is on a 3-game slide. They have lost their last 3 league contests, making them 2-3 in the league, 3-5 overall. Conversely, Norristown is 5-3 overall and 3-2 in the league. And Norristown, of course, coming off a loss to Neshaminy. Was that it? wasn't Neshaminy? Yes, it was. In their last ball game, and I think that sort of eliminates them from a league title, unless they can beat Abington. And I don't know what Abington's record is. I think Pennsbury's up there.
Well, I think this is a key ball game, and if you take it the standpoint that you've got William Tennant here this evening, next ball game against Abington, then the big Thanksgiving Day matchup against Upper Merion. The Eagles to certainly salvage their season. It's not going down the tubes. It has the possibilities that it could, but they're facing 2 quality opponents before they take on Upper Merion, another tough squad.
We're ready
so
for
I think
the
this
kickoff.
is an important one.
Okay. Of course, the Eagles will receive. They're on the right side of your screen in the blue uniforms with the white lettering. It's a short kick. It looks like it's going to go out of bounds at about the 22-yard line. And Norristown will take over 1st and 10 from their own 22. Now, Alan, we brought this up in an earlier ball game when the kickoff goes out of bounds. What's the situation? And looks to me like, the ball must have gone out of bounds much farther up the field than the 22-yard line where we saw it. The ball spotted at the 40-yard line, and Norristown takes control. Perhaps that's the penalty that's affected if a kickoff is out of bounds. I don't know what the high school rule is regarding that. I'm sorry we can't give you definite information about that.
Either way, Norristown, good field position.
Okay, Frank Casano hands off right up the middle to Jacques Frechette. He's stonewalled right away. Gets about 1 yard, and on the tackle for William Tennant was number 64, their nose guard, Bob Baker. And of course, Norristown this year, Alan, has had a very balanced offensive attack. I think that their only problem this year has been the big turnovers. In that Neshaminy game, 5 turnovers. They moved the ball, they just couldn't make the big play. They couldn't take advantage when they were down close, and I think that's been their problem all year.
Well, Norristown's offense, as we have seen, is certainly capable of moving the ball up and down the field. The problem is they always seem to stall between the 20, once you get past the 20, and also because, as you said,
interception. And this guy's still going. Could be a touchdown for Tennant on the first series of the game. Oh, what a big play. That was number 32, Joe Ballant, who intercepted that ball. Frank Casano had plenty of time, Alan. Tried to throw into coverage, though. I believe the intended receiver was either Bob Carson or Brian Murphy, I believe. And there were 2 defenders around him. The ball got tipped into the air, and Ballant was just in the right place at the right time and made a fine run back with the ball also.
Well, that time I think Frank just tried to force the ball in there, where I think as he gains more experience, he'll realize that you have to either look off to a secondary receiver or else just keep the ball yourself.
And Tennant takes over at the 16-yard line of the Eagles. What a big break for them early in the ballgame. We've got an offsides Norristown. This will be a free play for Tennant. No, we'll call it dead. I'm pretty sure that's going to be offsides called against the Eagles. We'll wait for the preliminary call.
And ironically, only as you were talking about turnovers, boom, there it happens.
Well, I think it's indicative of their season, really. And the first play of the ball game defensively, they're charged with offsides. Now, last week against Neshaminy, they were only penalized once for 5 yards, I think it was, but the turnovers were so crucial. And Alan, in the game, 2 games that you were away here that Tony Koya filled in for you, and we'll talk more about that later, we saw the Eagles plagued with turnovers and penalties. Even though they came up winners, they had to struggle for games they should have won handily. Okay, that's number 15, Kevin Zaper, hands off. Pardon me, that's a quarterback keeper around the left. Zaper's down by, who's that down on the far side? That's number 78, Bill Angelucci. Give you the quick starters for William Tennant. They've got Kevin Zaper, number 15, at quarterback. In the backfield, number 25, Brian Milet, and number 34, John Grossi. And we'll give you the Norristown starters and the rest of William Tennant in just a moment. Okay, it's 2nd down and 5. No gain on that last play. Zaper goes to the air. Nice play that time, broken up by number 8, Brooke Bugg of Norristown. That time the ball was intended for number 11, the split end, Bill Simons.
And that time Brooke almost came up with an interception. He was hanging right behind his man. All of a sudden the pass was thrown. He anticipated it, cut right in front of the Tennant receiver, and almost came up with the INT.
Okay, so also in there for William Tennant, we've got number 73, Frank Grandizio, number 50, Dave Yance, number 60, Aaron LaShore, number 78, Scott Schettinger, number 63, Pat Ellis, and number 84, Joe Nelk.
Of course, you're doing that all from memory.
Of course, I've got it memorized. Zaper hands off to the second back. No place to go. Norristown defense comes up big. It's going to be 4th down and about 2 yards to go.
Little delayed draw that time, but it really didn't fool the Norristown defense as one man was already in the offensive backfield.
Now let's see if we can pick out who's in there for the Eagles. 77, Theron Ellis. Number 50, Joe Glisson. Number 46, Dwayne Sanders. Number
32, Jacques Rochette.
35, Jacques
35, what I was saying.
99, Greg Reinhardt. And number 8, Brooke Bugg.
Number 1, Luther Harling, one of your defensive backs.
77, Theron Ellis. We're going to have a field goal attempt here. For William Tennant, it's going to be a 25-yard attempt. The kick is up. Oh, plenty of distance. No good. Wide to the left. I'll tell you, the kicker for William Tennant really got some leg into that ball, but he misses it wide to the left. So William Tennant blows a big first quarter opportunity, Alan.
Well, Norristown's lucky. They turned the ball over. It could have cost them here. Instead, Tennant, it's got to be a demoralizing factor because they come away with no points when they're knocking on the door.
Okay, now in there for Norristown, we should be seeing our regular folks in there. Number 74, Terry Kennedy. Number 78, Bill Angelucci. Number 50, Joe Glisson. Number 11, Billy Evans at the split end. In the backfield, number 35, Jacques Rochette. Number 40, Van James. The pitch goes to Rochette around the left side. Fumble. Van James picks it up, and he's nailed as soon as he picks the ball up. I'll tell you, Alan, 3 times they touch the ball, and twice they turn it loose. This time they're lucky. They get it back.
I've got to wonder how much maybe the cold weather does play a factor here, because this is, as you said in the beginning of the ball game, the first time the cold has really hit the Norristown area. And as you're out there, you've got the ball, especially if you're a running back, it's tucked in there, and you don't have the feel because your hands are a little numb, and maybe perhaps you're not getting the grip on it. And Jacques, that time, he wasn't hit. He simply dropped the ball, and good thing Van James was back there.
Okay, loss of 4 on the play. It's 2nd down and 14 with 8:51 left to go in the first quarter. Casano, this time the draw to Van James. Oh, he fights off 3 tackles. Nice run by Van James. Splits the seam, and he's up real close to a first down now, and that Van James did that all by himself. Broke 3 or 4 tackles.
Excellent 2nd and 3rd effort that time. He should have been down after about a 1 or 2 yard pickup that time, but he just kept fighting and finally sidestepped a couple of tacklers and broke 3.
Okay, we want to tell you who else is in there for Norristown. Of course, on the line, number 58, Vance Fisher, one of your tri-captains, as well as number 60, Mike Palladino, one of the 5 linemen that we didn't mention in the initial list of starters. And of course, number 2, Andy Town is in there for Norristown. Sorry about that, Andy.
And of course, the cold does affect the announcing crew sometimes.
The tongue, I think, is one of the major organs affected by the cold. Casano at 3rd and inches, hands off to Rochette. He's got 1 tackler to beat. Oh, and he gets dragged down along the left sideline. What a run by Jacques Rochette, though. And I'll give credit to the blockers that time. They opened up that hole up the middle. It was 3rd and inches, and Jacques made a big play into it.
Well, Jacques was fighting the sideline that time, but the one that eventually did him in was Joe Gallant, number 32, one of the defensive backs for the Panthers. He eventually cut Jacques out.
Okay, but a big gain for Norristown as they get into William Tennant territory, and they have the ball on the 47-yard line. Okay, we go up the middle again, this time to Van James. James gets stacked up right at the line of scrimmage, perhaps a gain of 1 yard on the play. And of course, Bob Carson and Andy Towns shuttle the plays in for Roger Grove. You give them to Frank Cassano, your junior quarterback. And Alan, for the most part, what we've seen of Frank Cassano this year, I've been pretty much impressed. I think Roger Grove's got to be real happy that Frank's coming back for him next year.
Especially, he's getting all this experience under his belt as a junior. Norristown's most potent passing attack since Steve Bono has graduated, and Frank has done a fine job.
All right, the Eagles take over 2nd down and 9. This time Cassano's going to run with the ball. He's got some running room up the middle. He better get down or he's going to get really popped.
And that's another quality Frank Cassano gives the Norristown offense, that ability to scramble. He has excellent speed, and we've seen him keep it quite a few times, not just on broken plays like that where he didn't have any receivers open, but also on designated keepers.
That's right, Frank Cassano is a real good ball player off the bootleg. And that time he picks up about 7 yards on the play, leading the Eagles with a 3rd down and 2 situation.
Frank's really impressed me with his arm strength. You'd think a small guy like himself, around 5'10", 170, wouldn't have the zip on the ball, but he really can deliver one.
This time they go to Van James off the left side. He's got a hole this time. And Van James gets the 1st down for the Eagles. That time the offensive line really opened it up for him.
Especially number 78, Bill Angelucci, that time. He really threw a good key block. Van James went right around his outside and picked up the necessary yardage.
Quickly, let's give you the defensive players for William Tennant. They have number 63, Pat Ellis, number 73, Frank Rendicio, number 64, Bob Baker, number 84, Joe Nelk, number 87, Steve Timberlake. At linebacker, number 54, Brian Carson, number 55, Fred Schott. And we'll get back to you right after this play. 1st and 10, Norristown. Rashad up the middle. What a bull, huh? All jockeys that time.
Guys just bouncing off of jockeys, and the ones that weren't bouncing off, he decided to drag with him for a few yards.
It was a nice gain. Also in the backfield for William Tennant, we've got their corners and their safeties. Number 22, Rob Alford, 26, Bob Young, 33, Tim Tolan, number 32, Joe Ballant. They, interestingly enough, they have the same defensive alignment as Norristown, the old 5-2.
Exactly, so it's going to be cutting down on the running attack, but at the same time it leaves that little zone right behind the defensive linemen up to where the linebackers are positioned. It leaves them open for an alert quarterback.
And Rashad picked up 6 on that last play. It's 2nd down and 4. They go to Jacques again, but he's got minimal gain this time. Not enough for the 1st down, I don't believe.
Norristown running both sides of the line so far in the ball game. They're mixing up their running plays. I think Frank Cassano, has only put up that one ball that was intercepted early in the contest.
I believe you're right, absolutely. It's 3rd down and inches as we've got 5:14 remaining in the 1st quarter. Of course, no score in the ball game. Norristown on their 1st possession, the 2nd play from scrimmage. Frank Cassano was intercepted on a tipped ball by Joe Ballant. William Tennant takes the ball down to the 15-yard line, can't move it any further, and they miss a field goal attempt. So the Eagles on their 2nd possession of the night are moving the ball quite effectively.
So what do you think? You give it to Jacques right up the middle?
Sure, why not?
The coaches in the press box have spoken.
And they heard us. Rashad fumbles. Loose ball. William Tennant, I can't believe it. Rashad has the 1st down. He's on his way down, and he gets stripped of the ball. Oh, man, my goodness.
Could be a very long, cold night here at Roosevelt Field.
Let's start making a note of this.
That's 2.
That's 2 turnovers, 2 fumbles, and an interception.
Well, hold it. Let's get the CBS chalkboard out. I'll call down to the truck for a minute.
You diagram it for me.
Okay. Diagram of a fumble. But 1st and 10 for Tennant. 4.5 minutes left to go here in the opening quarter. Handoff that time to Brian Milet. Tries to sweep around the right end, but good containment by the Norristown defense. Strung Milet out. If he picked up any yardage, it was minimal. And they're calling it 2nd and 10, so no pickup on that play. Good job by the Norristown D. So the Norristown offense squanders another opportunity here, Jeff.
I'll tell you, let's see if Tennant has had their problems offensively this year. I'd like to see if they can get on track. This time they roll to the left. Zaper being pursued, and that's Mike Taylor drags him down. Good pursuit by the Eagle defense that time.
Exactly. As you said, Mike Taylor finally putting on the sack there, but there were at least 3 Eagles linemen chasing the quarterback out of the pocket that time until Taylor finally came up from the right side and made the hit.
4-yard loss on the play, incidentally. That makes it 3rd and 14 for William Tennant. This time Zaber to the air again. Theron Ellis with good pressure. Oh, what a play by Theron Ellis. And William Tennant's going to have to punt. Negative yardage for them.
Well, I'll tell you, Theron Ellis has been one of the most impressive players on the Norristown defense this entire season, consistently getting in the backfield and putting good pressure on. And what's really impressive is that Theron, 6'3", 205, only a junior, second year of varsity of experience under his belt here. Just imagine the terror that he can create next season.
the havoc he will wreak.
But see, I got mixed up on my cliches, so I didn't want to mix metaphors, so I kept it at that.
Tony Coyer did real well with your cliche book those 2 weeks you were away. I gave him a lot of credit.
Oh,
Fumble could
snap.
be a safety.
Safety time.
It's going to be a safety. You betcha, folks. Norristown with their first safety of the year.
Brooke Bugg gets credit there for sacking the punter that time, and I think that's another indication of where I think the cold might have played a factor in there. You don't want to completely blame it on the weather, but you saw the guy, the ball comes back, it snapped to him, boom, it's gone.
Well, you know what, folks? You give a lot of credit to the Norristown line that time. They put negative yardage on the board for Tennant. Ball was pushed back all the way to the 5-yard line. That snap was low. The punter couldn't handle it, and Norristown defense right on top of him.
You know, when I was reading the newspaper here about the account, Roger Grove was talking about the close battles they've had, and the one where Norristown won, I think it was 6-2. And I was thinking, wow, I haven't seen a safety in high school football in years, and here we have one.
There we got one. And so the Eagles lead 2-0, a very odd score in any kind of a football game. And of course, as the rules provide, William Tennant may either kick off or punt, and they'll probably opt to punt.
And 2-0, the cleanup batter coming up next, I guess, right?
That's right.
Baseball weather, here we go.
And they'll punt from the 25-yard line in high school